Hello everyone, welcome to the next episode of my series about share trading videos. So we've been making videos about share trading, simplifying it, especially for people in UK, simplifying share trading. And I was a complete beginner when I started. That's why I made this video for people like me who can't read charts or candles, but still, can make 100%, 200% return of investment by properly, spending time and researching the company that you're going to invest in, which is what I've been explaining. And today is actually a happy day for me. Not because I've made more profit, but because one of the very first shares that I mentioned back in May, I've been like mentioning at least 2 or 3 shares, and they've all been performing really well, like 200%, 300%. Some of them had made like more than 200% consistently in the last few months. And we'll look at, like we do every month, we look at the performance of some of the shares that we mentioned in the previous videos. But one of my favorite shares is a company called NCYT, Nova CYT. That was the very first share that I mentioned back in May when I explained my portfolio, and it's kind of the share that actually started this video series. But that's the share that I bought in early March or late February, and it was roughly around like just about £1 or higher. And by the time I made the series in May, it was already £4. It was like one of the biggest investment returns for me, and the first time that gave me confidence to go ahead with this, not just this video series, but go ahead with the investments. So today it's actually a good day because it has reached one of the new highs, all-time highs for this year. And I'll explain, when we go into the video, I'll explain what the price is today and how much it has made and why it is a big deal from a share perspective, from an AIM share perspective for the matter. And also there's another share that I mentioned about in my video series, I think back in July. It's called TILS, Tiziana Life Sciences. They are also a biopharma company. They have announced a demerger, and I explained about the demerger in one of my videos. But the demerger timeline has now come, and I will explain what the demerger means for you if you're an individual investor. Also, if you're holding your shares in different accounts like Trading 212 or Free Trade, I'll explain what you can expect in the next couple of weeks as a TILS investor holding your TILS share. I'll explain it in detail. So, brief look at some of the shares that we talked about in the previous videos, right? I mean, when I started this, one of the things that I had, one of the hesitations that I had was I'm basically vouching for some of these shares, even though I'm not an investment expert. So I've been always putting this disclaimer saying that, look, it's not an investment advice. This is only my portfolio. I'm not asking you to buy these shares, but I'll also explain fundamentally why I have bought it, and that will give you confidence if you're in UK, to go ahead and invest in these shares. Luckily, or not luckily, but because of the time and effort that we put into these shares, they have turned out to be profitable. We talked about maybe like 10 or 11 shares in total, of which most of the 90% have been profitable. In fact, more than 7 or 8 shares have made more than 100% in the last 3 or 4 months. And like I said, these are the top performing shares from our videos. And the date that I posted the original video, back in May, June, July, when I posted it, I mentioned about the share and the price that it was at that point on that date when I made the video to today. If you compare it, like GGP, for example, has made 286%. ODX have made about 253%. So that's the kind of returns that we have seen to the peak price from the point that we made the video. So it's been, all of them have performed really well, and they are continuing to perform really well. And pretty much except NCYT, everything else is still in my portfolio, I would say. Now, NCYT, I mentioned, is it's reached a peak point, and so I'm kind of happy. Even though I've sold everything, the reason I'm happy is because it won the run that it had, right? It was roughly started around like 0.09 pence. I mean, it was around 9 pence when it started back in November 2019, and today it reached a peak price of nearly about £11.40 pence, and that's nearly 12,567%, which means that if you put in £1,000 investment into it, you would probably be looking at £126,000 return of investment from it. And this is huge. I mean, this is like, if you have put in, let's say, roughly about 94,000 rupees, less than 1 lakh, you're looking at 1.2 crores. And probably, one of the share of the years, I would say, the kind of growth that this has had. And another reason I am happy is because a lot of people had bought it when I made the video, and the share had gone down to about 3.50. And they were asking me, and I was like basically saying that I still have confidence in the company. At that time, I actually held shares in the company. And My rationale was that this is a multi-million-dollar revenue earning company and it's making COVID test kits. So it's definitely going to continue earning revenue for the time being at least, right? So I'm happy when people bought it at £4. Now it's about £11, which is like more than double their investment even from that point. So the reason I sold NCYT is because I found something that was better at that point of time that I needed to invest in, like I explained in my previous video about Supply Me. So which is why I had to sell. I mean, when I find an opportunity which is going to be much better than what I have in my current portfolio, I sell it and then move on to the next one. But if not for that, for the fact that I needed money to buy something else, I would have probably held on to it. But again, that's the kind of investment and that's the kind of patience that you need to have. Any share that you buy, if you know the company is performing well, you need to give it at least 6 months, if not more, and wait for it before you can find decent investment or decent return of investment. So we talked about the TILS demerger, right? So what is happening is TILS is Tiziana Life Sciences, a biopharma company. They have a technology called stem printer. I talked about stem printer in my July video. You can go and look at it in detail. We'll not go into the detail of it, but that's a biopharma patent that they have, and they're going to branch it off into a new company called AccuStem, because the value of stem printer is so huge. They don't want to contain it in a single company. They want to branch off that one product into a new company called AccuStem, which means that AccuStem is going to become a new public limited company. And that's the timeline that they have published in their own RNS, and you can go and see the RNS. I'll explain. I'll give you the link for the RNS as well. But they've basically given the timeline in an RNS to say that this is what is going to happen. And 27th of October next week is when the court will have the final hearing, and 30th of October is when the company will become effective, or the demerger will become effective. Which means that that's the day when the company goes live, but it'll probably take like a few days for the listing to happen, for the new company shares to appear in share trading, for that matter, to be admitted into share trading. Now, what this means is that if you have one share in TILS, you will get one share in the new company. So if you have 100 shares, for that matter, in 30th of October, after the demerger, whenever the listing happens for AccuStem, you will get 100 shares in the new company, whatever the price is. It could be like, Tiziana Life Sciences, the share price is only £1.70 today. The new company, when the IPO goes live or when it gets launched, it could be £10, but you will still get one share for every one share that you hold in Tiziana Life Sciences, which means that this is a great opportunity to buy Tiziana Life Sciences, expect it to grow, also get the new share, the new company's shares for free when the demerger happens. But if you're holding your, Tiziana Life Sciences shares in a trading app like HNL or Free Trade, they support most of the market, and they have already confirmed saying that they are going to give you the free shares whenever the demerger happens. You get if you hold the share currently, you would have got a notification. HNL sent an email, Free Trade sent an in-app notification saying that they're going to support it. But if you're holding it in trading 212, they posted a community update saying that they are not able to support the demerger. So they will give you cash equivalent instead of the new share. So be aware of it wherever you're holding it, if you're in UK and if you hold the TILS shares. And again, because of the settlement issues, it's best to buy it on the 27th of October. So even though they say 30th of October is the cutoff date, if you buy it on the 30th, the settlement could mean that they might not consider your shares. So it's probably safer to buy it on the 27th and keep it at that point of time. Now, potential expectation is that the prices can increase because there will be a fear of missing out for new shares and new IPOs happening, and you're getting free shares. So there's potential possibility the prices could increase next week till the 30th of October. So, but once the demerger happens, everyone might be selling it, because if people had bought it only for the purpose of getting the free shares of AccuStem, they could immediately sell it after the demerger happens, right? So, now how do you prevent yourself from that potential reduction of price, and especially how do you make a profit? Because my strategy is to keep the shares for a longer time, right? So what I've done, or at least kind of my plan, and again, this is indicative numbers. Like if I assume I have like 1,000 shares for TILS, I'm going to keep that. That's my base shares. I'm going to keep it for AccuStem, and I've bought like 25% additional to it just for selling on the 30th of October. I'm expecting the price rise, So it's £1.70 now. I'm expecting it to go about £2 or £2.50 by end of next week or 30th of October. And when it goes to the peak price, I don't want the free shares. That is going to be my trading shares only, and I'm going to sell it regardless of what value it reaches on that point of time, if I'm making a profit. If I don't make a profit, obviously I'll not sell it, I'll keep it. But if I buy it now at 1.70 and it reaches like £3, I'm going to sell that. That's my trading share. So if I pre-decide what my base share is going to be, what my trading share is going to be, regardless of what happens on that particular day, I'm not psychologically influenced to make a decision, a random decision at that point. I have a plan that I can hold, and which means that I can avoid making a huge loss or a huge miss of opportunity. So that's kind of my strategy, and everyone has their individual strategies, but I just wanted to give a rough idea of what I'm going to do, so that if you want to make a plan, then you can make a plan for yourself as well. So again, hopefully this was a very quick update. Hopefully this was useful to you. Until next time, thank you, bye.